Hello, friends. I'm your host, Michael D. Butler, global book publisher, coming at you from Bangkok, Thailand. And the title of the webinar is Write Your Book in 1 Hour. I've been able to help hundreds of people write their book in 1 hour. If you've been taking 6 months, 6 years, 26 years to write your book, you're in the right place. So grab a pen, turn off your notifications, share this recording with a friend, because we're going to launch your book by Christmas. If friends and family have been telling you you need to write your book, you're in the right place, because based on my best-selling book, Book Idea to Bestseller in 30 Days, I help you write your book in 1 hour. Now, there are 4 to 5 million new titles each year in the US alone. So globally, there's between 10 and 12 million new books that don't even have ISBN numbers. Knowledge is doubling monthly. And a lot of people thought the internet killed publishing, but the fact is readership is up globally. It's just that Americans aren't reading. Half of America has listened to an audio book. Hardcovers are up 20%. There's still 20,000 bookstores in the US alone, and libraries are still the #1 buyers of books in the world. Now, this book, you might recognize it if you said the Bible. You're right. This is Gutenberg's press that produced the Gutenberg Bible in the 1500s. It brought the world out of the Dark Ages and into the Renaissance. Now, my books are inspired, but they're not inspired like the Bible is. Your book might be inspired, but it's not inspired like the Bible is. But it can still make an impact. It can still do something amazing in the world. We've published over 847 books by 209 authors in 66 countries, and ghostwritten more than 100 books. And so I'm talking to you today about writing your book, getting your message out to the world. I thought of this when I was in Israel in May running my ultra marathon to raise awareness and attention to the hostages and to our kids in our safe houses in Pakistan, as we rescue kids in Pakistan and provide for their education and their care. That my core life came to me when I was receiving applause on a stage giving my first speech. Here's a picture of me giving my first speech at 11-year-old Ewing Hassel High School, Middle School, Ewing Hassel Middle School. And the 300 students that were applauding me and giving me an ovation had seen me the previous 5 years stutter. I stuttered at school. I stuttered to try to speak to new friends. I stuttered when I was with a group of people I did not know. I was just a nerd kid from Oklahoma with my library card maxed out, but I decided in that moment, I'm going to be either a meteorologist or I didn't know about motivational speakers then, but those were the only two industries I knew you could get paid to be a professional speaker. And I felt the Lord calling me to be a professional speaker because it was a librarian that gave me a book written by an 11-year-old kid when I was 11 years old. I don't remember the name of the book. I don't remember the title of the book, but I want to get to heaven. I'm going to look that kid up and thank him. I just remember there was a picture of a sailboat on the front of that book, which in my mind was a massive yacht where I would sail around the world and do these adventures. And God gave me a dream at that time, living on the farm in Oklahoma, and I would see these planes fly over, and I would say to my brother and everybody that would listen, one of these days, I'm going to be on these planes and I'm going to fly all over the world and I'm going to speak to thousands of people. And, you know, I've spoken in 18 countries and I've landed in 38 countries, and we are just getting started, all with the power of a book and the power of a dream. And I've been really fortunate and blessed to work with a lot of the great thought leaders of our day, from Les Brown, John Maxwell, Dr. Forbes Riley, Brian Tracy, either as my mentors, my coaches, my consultants, my clients, being able to work with Tony Robbins, Jillian Michaels, billionaires, Chubby Checker. But my favorite thing, Don't Stop Believing, the most karaoke song of all time by Journey writer, keyboardist Jonathan Cain, the story that brought that song to life, is my 4 sons and my grandson. That's what it's about. So as we're talking about getting your story out to the world, what are you passionate about? What is your why? This is what I'm passionate about, is rescuing kids from human trafficking and making a difference in our 4 safe houses in Asia, in Pakistan. So the #1 reason people want to write a book is for credibility. The #1 reason is credibility, to get new customers, more speaking gigs, more podcasts, be on more red carpets, to be able to travel the world, more referrals, to be able to charge more as a coach, consultant, business owners. Maybe it's to get on a TED Talk stage with your book. We've had a number of our authors that have done that, or land movie deals. We've had a couple of our authors do that. But I think the most powerful thing about writing a book is the spiritual growth it's going to give you, the boost it's going to give you in your personal development, in your growth phase. That's more than counseling. It's better and more powerful than any counseling or any therapy you might invest in, is the personal growth that you experience. The Publishing Institute says writing a book boosts revenue 380% for consultants, 219% for public speakers, and 194% for real estate agents. What will that book do for you having it out by Christmas? Meeting planners say you're 68% more likely to get on stage or get the media interview because you've got a book over somebody that doesn't have a book. Now, the thing is, if you're an author, you're a speaker, you've got to grab people's attention quick, because the average human attention span is 8 seconds, which is just 1 second more than a goldfish. Hook them quickly. Most people don't read past page 9 of a book. So if you want people to read past page 9, you've got to sharpen the axe. And that's what we're going to do today. Like Abraham Lincoln said, if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 4 sharpening my axe. So I'm going to get you laser focused today. Regardless of how long friends and family have been telling you to write that book, how long you've put it off, how long you struggle to get it done, we're going to get it done by Christmas, because I'm going to help you in one free 30-minute free consult. I'm going to help you identify what is your core life message. We're going to identify that core life message. We're going to look at who is the reader, what action do you want them to take, because 85% of Americans want to write a book, only 15% ever do. And I'm going to get you across the finish line right now, because writing a book is like shoveling horse manure. You might say, Mike, how is writing a book like shoveling horse manure? Well, I got to tell you, I was 7 years old. We lived on the farm in Oklahoma, and I'm looking forward to playing with my friends on a Saturday. And Friday night at dinner, Dad says, don't make any plans. We're going to do something special tomorrow morning. So my brother Kenny and I go to bed, and we're wondering about, what are we going to do? Are we going to go to the lake and go swimming? Are we going to go on a trip? What are we going to do tomorrow? We get up, we have breakfast. Dad loads us in his 63 Chevy pickup truck with a couple of shovels and says, we're going to shovel horse manure from the farmer's barn. Shoveling horse manure, writing a book is like shoveling horse manure, because everybody loves eating fresh, organic, beautiful fruits, delicious vegetables, watermelon, tomatoes, vegetables, all these things, but they don't realize that it's the shoveling of the horse manure in the spring that gives you the delicious fruits and vegetables, transformation. We all believe in creating a movement with our book. We all believe in creating transformation with our message, but in order to create that, we've got to shovel the horse manure. You know, the South African, we were launching in Pretoria, South Africa, where Elon Musk is from, pre-COVID. I had 2,000 women show up on a Saturday morning for 5 hours to launch a book there in the Afrikaans language. They were excited. The South African diamond miners will tell you, you've got to move 600 tons of dirt to get to 1 ounce of diamond. So if we're going to find the true diamonds that are on the inside of you, the true gold, the true treasure on the inside of you, it's there. It was put in there. We got to go deeper. We're going to go deep, and we're going to remove the dirt, and we're going to put in the horse manure, and we're going to process this. The mistake most new authors make is that's what they want to publish, is the horse manure. But the world doesn't have the bandwidth. They're dealing with their own horse manure. 90% of what you write in your therapy and journal, in your cathartic process of your healing, will not make it into the best-selling book. That, however, my friends, will be the thing that will break open the seed in your heart, that will give the world the fruit and the transformation and the success that you're called to bring it. It's that's going to change the world, because memoirs are the slowest moving category of book, right down there with poetry on the nonfiction side. So if you want to sell a lot of books, you've got to create a how-to book. You can still tell your story, but it's got to be the 5 things I learned during this trip, the 3 things that are pillars of truth, core values for me that I learned in a how-to book to transform people's lives. So the encouraging thing is readership is up globally. Books are bigger than the movie industry, and we got to know who our reader is, and that's what we're going to find. Now, about 15 years ago, I had moved into a new house, and I was going through some and I ran across a journal where I had journaled about years before that one of my bucket list goals was to run a marathon by the time 40. So at this time, I'm 9.5, and I thought, oh my goodness, I haven't made it once toward that goal. So I put on my running shoes. I go out that day, I run, and I'm out of breath. I'm a couch potato. I can tell you, the next day I'm thinking I'm having a bad day. I go out, running shoes on. I run 2 blocks and 2 mailboxes. I'm about to die. I go home, I Google running shoes. I buy some new running shoes. I see an ad pop up for a running group. I joined Fleet Feet Running in Oklahoma, and I RSVP'd for the Route 66 Marathon, November 16, 2008. I signed up, and that day I put on social media, 6 months from now, I'm going to cross the finish line. I'm going to run a sub-5 marathon in less than 5 hours. And guess what? 6 months from that day, my parents, my kids, they were all out to cheer me on in running a marathon that day 6 months later, because you know what? I decided I'm going to do it. I got public with it. I brought on a group of mentors that were my running team that helped me get out of bed at 5 a.m. long 20-mile training run. You need to get public with. I'm going to write a book today, and I'm going to launch it by Christmas. You put that social media that day. 6 months from now, I'm going to run a sub-5 marathon under 5 hours. And guess what? 6 months to that day, I crossed the finish line with my 4 sons, my parents watching me, cheering me on. My 4 sons got out of the spectator area and ran the last 3 miles of that race with me, all because I got public. I put it on social media. I got public, and I joined a running group. You need mentors and coaches to help you. We're going to help you write this book, because if we're going to launch a book by Christmas, it takes 80% of the space shuttle's fuel to get into orbit. But with the remaining 20% of fuel, you can circle the Earth 22 times. And that's what I'm going to help you do over the next few weeks. To discover what is your core life message in this free Zoom consult, I'm going to help you discover what is your core life message. I'm going to get you through all the minutia, and I'm going to get you to the farmer's market so you can bring transformation to the world. Now, this book was a course for years called Write Your Book in 60 Days. And I turned it into a best-selling book idea, a bestseller in 30 days. During the pandemic, so many people wanted to write their book, and we were so blessed. I said, what can I do to help so many people? And every week I'm hosting this course on Write Your Book in 1 hour. And I had many people go through this course. 58 people ended up publishing with us, and their book has literally gone on to transform. We've had authors on CNN, Dr. Phil, Houston Chronicle, San Francisco Chronicle, TED Talk stages, the media, local media, Good Morning America, you name it, they've been on it, because I help them realize things like 90% of global readers are women. 70% of global book consumption is fiction. So if you're writing a nonfiction book, that's only 30% of global readers. You've got to figure out how to market and sell your book to people living outside the US. With so many new ISBNs every year, 4 million in the US, 12 million globally, how do you stand out? How do you, with all of your friends and other people that are publishing books on social media every day, how do you stand out? How do you not just get somebody to buy your book, but to read past page 9? Did you know most people don't read past page 9? But if you can keep them turning the page to read to the end, to scan your QR code, they're ready to spend $20,000 with you and go anywhere in the world with you. So how do you get a complete stranger to buy your book? What do you put on the back cover? How do you structure the table of contents to hook the buyer and to keep them turning the page? What is the movie trailer chapter, and how do you write it? That's what I'm going to give to you. I am giving it to you. You might do an entire series of fiction books like Nina St. George is doing with us, who is a mergers and acquisition business coach who's helped buying and selling companies, merging companies, is doing a whole series of fiction books to simplify and storify the process of buying and selling a business. But when you're publishing globally, I'm going to give you the 3 types of publishing between self-publishing, traditional publishing, and hybrid publishing, because over on the left here with Amazon and Barnes & Noble, that's United States distribution. And Amazon is only 50% of global world book sale. Over on the right is global distribution. And if you want your book in front of the eyeballs of 1 billion potential readers, listen up, because here's how it works for you. And if you look at this, US is number 26 on the list for global book consumption because 76% of books in English are bought and read outside the US. The top countries for book consumption in English are India, Thailand, China, and the Philippines. So if you're only self-publishing, you're not hitting those markets. So when you self-publish, that's when you do everything yourself. Now, the upside of that is you own the rights, you make 100% of the royalties, but you're not getting global distribution, forget about it, and you're never going to get your book into bookstores and libraries. You're going to spend about $9,000 with self-publishing just to learn how to do everything, hiring an editor, hiring a cover designer, figuring out how to do the Library of Congress and the copyright registration and the ISBN registrations, to do the ebook conversion, to load the books up everywhere, to get the hardcover paperback and the ebook, to create an Amazon bestseller. This is before you've sold any books. You've spent about $9,000 doing self-publishing. The traditional publishing was very popular back in the 70s and 80s. This was when an A-list celebrity like Oprah Winfrey or Joel Osteen or Chuck Norris would get a call from a publisher or a knock on the door to say, look, we want to write your book and publish your book, put your face on your book, sell your book, but you don't own the rights. We're going to pay you 5 to 7%. We're going to make 95%. We're going to take 2 to 3 years to bring your book to market. And oh yeah, you can never reuse any of the content because you don't own the content. We do. And if you get a movie deal or a licensing deal about the book, we make all that as well because we own all the licensing. Enter hybrid publishing. Hybrid publishing has gotten really hot in the last 15 years because it gives you the best of both worlds, self-publishing and traditional, where you own all the rights, you make the lion's share of the royalties, you get global distribution, and you get brought to market quickly, and you have full creative control over what the book looks like, the interior, the back cover, everything like that. And anytime you go speak or do an event or a podcast, you can sell them into your mastermind, you can upsell them into your community, your coaching program, and you make all the money, all the revenue. There's a one-time author investment on the front end that is equal to or less than what you would be spending with self-publishing, but you're ensured that everything gets done properly and gets done quickly, not to mention the marketing aspect of the book, because most hybrids will market your book to some extent. We certainly do. And here's what we do. We're comparative and competitive with their hybrid publishers out there that will charge you about $9,000 to bring your book to market. Where we're different is most publishers will take 6 to 9 months to bring your book to market. We'll do it in as little as 4 weeks. This includes the book cover design, the interior design, the copyright registration, the ISBN, Library of Congress, the look inside features, loading your book up to dozens of sites, the ebook, the paperback, the hardcover, doing the ebook conversion, which is very important so it looks correct on all the world's readers, loading the audiobook to ACX, Audible, iTunes, going #1 on Amazon. That's a lot of work. You got to know how to do that. A national press release, editing, giving you a professional line edit, a total of $9,000 value. But we don't stop there. At Beyond Publishing, we go beyond. We give you your first media interview, which is a $2,500 value. Introduction to our podcast network to get you on podcasts, adding you to our author private Facebook group with over 2,000 authors. $900 value where you can network there and participate and speak and be on other podcasts and ask questions 24/7. Access to our changing lives in New York and NASDAQ and beyond. Michael D. Butler, Global Book Publisher. We're ending human trafficking at 1040impact.org. Lovely. Lovely. I don't even know where that came from. So we will edit that out. I just don't even know where that came from. Wow. I don't even know where that came from, so we'll edit that out. My book writing course, an $897 value and a 30-minute free book consult with me about your book and who the reader is, a $690 value. Total value, $15,000. Am I going to charge you $15,000 for that? No, and here's why, but I'm only offering this to 3 people until October 31st. Is today through October 31st. I'm only going to charge you $49.97 US. That's $10,000 off. That's a one-time payment of $4,997 or 2 pay of $2,750, and we bring your book to market by Christmas. So get on my calendar. I'm only doing this for the first 3 people. text me the word book to 1-918-955-3227. Scan the QR code, getpublished.beyondpublishing.net. Jump on my calendar. Your friends and family have been telling you for years you should do this, and now is your time. You've struggled yourself to do it for months and years, and you haven't. I'm going to help you finally get it done. I'm going to give you a 30-day money-back guarantee if you decide, Michael, this just wasn't for me, or it didn't work out, or the topic we settled on wasn't exactly right for me. Then we'll give you the 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. The offer goes away 5 p.m. October 31st, or as soon as our first 3 people signed up. We already had 1 person sign up, Lillian from Texas. So there's only 2 spots left. Jump on my calendar, text me, and we'll send you the offer details, and we can lock that in because we're only taking the first 3 people. You're actually going to have your book up and pre-selling by Christmas with a release in January or before, depending on when you get it done. We're going to give you all the tools you need to get it done quickly and faster than you ever thought possible. You're going to be crossing that finish line. The world's going to be cheering you on. The world's going to be celebrating. Going to have that credibility you've always wanted to have because you finally did it. You finally decided to make it happen. Thanks for watching the webinar, sharing the webinar, and I'll see you at the top. This is your host, Michael D. Butler, America's Book Publisher, where I help you bring your story to the world.